University Women Educational Foundation and the Dayton Historical Depot Society present Living in Dayton, a local production by Dayton residents that documents the lives of women from early Columbia County families that shaped the community of Dayton, Washington. Following this interview is information on how you can purchase copies of this series, Living in Dayton.
Now, Mag, tell us where you grew up.
I grew up on the Upper Toucannon, not the Upper Toucannon, but the street.
Where the Cummins Creek comes into the Toucannon. And what did your dad do there?
He raised garden truck.
Okay, and lots of berries?
Lots of berries.
Yeah. And you had a brother and a sister and a half-sister, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. And what do you remember about your early childhood there?
I remember having to get up and go pick strawberries and go pick raspberries and blackberries. So they told us that we had to be very careful what we did and how we talked to the Indians. They said that the Indians would say hello six to us.
Hello what?
Hello six.
Oh.
And that was the main thing. And so we were so scared we'd just get down in behind the windows so the Indians just see the tops of our heads.
But you never got into any trouble at school?
Oh,
no. No. Were you the teacher's pet?
Well, we were the teacher's nieces.
Teachers, who was the teacher?
Kate Russell.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And Alma and I were the culprits all the time.
That was Alma Mengie?
Alma Mengie.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of fun.
Like what did you do that you were in trouble all the time?
Well, we'd have various things that we would get into trouble. And for instance, there was a couple of girls that came to school from the lower end of town, and one of them was real fat, and she'd square back in the seat like that, you know. And we took pins and set in the toe of our shoe, and we'd stick them up through the crack in the seat. And when we made contact, she just jumped sky high.
But the teacher never caught you?
No, the teacher never caught us.
Then how come you had to stand in the corner?
Well, that was just for minor things.
Then after you left school there, then you taught school for a while, but how did you get your teaching certificate?
Oh dear, I studied hard.
Where'd you go to high school?
Well, we had 2 years of high school work there in the school, Kate.
And then how did you get your teaching certificate?
Brother, we studied.
The nonsense was over then.
The nonsense was over. Because we studied teachers' examinations and old teachers' examinations and things like that.
And then where was your first teaching job?
Oh, my first teaching job. See, Mother and Dad had made friends with Len Jacksons. That was my beginning with the Jackson area.
And they lived out on the Pataha.
They lived out on the Pataha. And so Len got me the school out there. And I had 3 boys. I had Dale and Ralph and Leo Chard. And I think they were the dumbest kids in Columbia County.
Ralph was?
No, oh no, Ralph wasn't. He was pretty smart.
How many girls were in the school?
There wasn't any,
Oh, just the three boys?
just the three boys.
Oh, and how old were you then?
Well, I was about 18.
And you had three boys to contend with.
I had three boys to contend with.
Okay, and so that was where you actually met Ralph then, was when you taught school out there?
Yes,
And you just swished him right off his feet, huh?
I just swished him right off.
How long did you teach then before you got married?
5 years.
All at that same school?
No. No, I taught 2 years there, and I taught around different places.
And then when were you and Ralph married?
We was married in 1918.
Okay, and that was when he got back from service?
No, he couldn't go to service
Oh, okay.
because he had defective eyesight.
Yeah. All right. And then where did you live then after you were married?
We lived in the house of 7 gables
Down on the Toucannon?
on the Toucannon.
The Jackson home on the Toucannon.
The Jackson home on the Toucannon.
And then when you were living there, I can remember going out there on the Pataha when they used, in the fall, they'd have those turkey shoots.
Yeah, we had.
And I can remember you and Agnes making lamb terrapin and serving out there. I can remember the little old shack out there on the Pataha
Yes.
where they had the turkey shoots.
And then we served lamb terrapin and pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
And what else?
Well, that lamb is the thing that I remember.
That was real good. And they never knew what it was. A lot of those old ladies, they just didn't like lamb or mutton or anything, and they ate it in everything that we had.
Yeah. Kind of pulled the wool over their eyes.
Yeah,
then.
we sort of pulled the wool over their eyes.
When you were born, which was May 2nd, 1895.
Yeah.
So that makes you 95 years young, right?
Oh, does it?
You bet. You bet. And another thing was the refrigeration you had there on the Toucannon was rather a unique deal.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the old spring house?
Remember the old spring house and the little place where we set the crocks to keep the milk cold?
Right down in the spring water.
In the spring water.
And that was out towards the road from the house, wasn't it?
And we had a big fish in the spring.
A big fish?
Yeah, fish about this long in the spring.
Oh. But you kept all your dairy products out there.
Yes. All the milk and cream,
Yeah.
and butter.
And then in the winter time, after you and Ralph were living down in the Jackson house, you used to have those so-called kitchen sweats, and where they had dances in the living room down there. Remember those?
Yes, there wasn't kitchen sweats.
No, but you had dances in your home.
Yes, we had dances in the home.
And did other homes have the dances too? Or was there any others that were big enough to have?
They weren't very big,
Yeah.
and I don't think they were big enough. Oh, the schoolhouse was the only thing.
What about you? The other day we started to talk about the sheep shearing.
Oh,
And so, do you want to tell us about that again? How the men had their little cubicles?
well, this is in the big barn. They had these little places where each sheep herder had his sheep, and he sheared it in there. And they And then when they got the sheep sheared, why they turned him out into a little sort of a pen, and then they counted those sheep that was sheared. And that was how many sheep he sheared for the day.
And he was paid by the sheep or by the day?
I think he was paid by the sheep, the number of sheep he had.
And then the wool was handled how?
The wool was, as soon as the fleece was cut, why, it was put into the big sack, wool sack. And there was a man in there that clamped it down. He had a hot job.
Yeah. Do you remember and have any idea about how many pounds of wool would be in one of those big sacks?
No, isn't anybody here that knows how much a sack of wool weighs?
You're the only one that was working with sheep that we know of around here.
Maybe about 200 pounds.
Well, that's pretty good sized sack then.
And he clamped it down in there till it was just real hard.
And now, did Ralph always work for the family?
Yes.
He didn't work for anybody else outside until he went to work at the cannery?
No.
He never worked for Ben Turner?
Yes, that was when he went to school.
Oh.
And he rode a horse up to Turner, and then he went from Turner on into town with on the school bus. And
that was not when you were teaching him, though?
No, that was long before I taught school.
Yeah.
And so now let's see. And he came on into town on the school bus there. That was what they did.
Okay. Now I think, what about this picture? And this is a picture of the Jackson home, and can you tell us just where on the Toucan it was? I know about, but it was up above Drew's, wasn't it?
Oh yes, up above Drew's.
Was it quite a little ways above Drew's?
Not quite a mile.
Not quite a mile above Drew's. Okay, I know it was on the Toucan.
Yeah.
And while they were raising sheep, you raised a lot of turkeys too, didn't you?
Well, that was long toward the end of the sheep, no, not toward the end of the sheep raising, but we raised a lot of turkeys, and we bought baby turks, they're day-old turks or whatever they were, and we raised them to Thanksgiving Day, the Thanksgiving market, and then we took them up to Spokane and sold them. There's nobody here to contradict me, is there?
No, whatever you say, we'll believe.